Beginning is always the hardest part.
Well, you know, first step and all that. 1,000 miles, whatever. I'm not sure why they're still showing us this screen. It feels eerily quiet now without that thing on. Summer is upon us, and the AC cannot function under the recording circumstances. Okay, so right, yeah, this is where we were.
Alas, this microphone does not have
I don't think any
separation of...
I don't think any professional studio would have.
No, it doesn't. I'm joking.
Right, so we're in the police office, and we gotta hack this computer, except we can't hack it. So I gotta find a password somewhere, which made this mission 1,000 times more complicated. Because this is like the police station I'm not supposed to be in, so I don't exactly feel good about just showing up and offing people. Like everyone was taken out.
Particularly because these are all public servants.
Yeah, these are all cops doing their job.
Whether or not that there's a corrupt behind the scenes is
well, and that's
irrelevant.
not even we don't even know that. We're just here to find a corpse. So I gotta somehow find the password to this. I'm gonna give it one more once over. Just to... Oh, hang on. Pocket Secretary. That could be good. That could mean the duration of intern code. But this is for
2912.
the morgue. That's not for this computer. Well, do we need this computer now that I think about it?
Why do you need the morgue?
Because that's where the body's being kept.
Crispy. Well,
Okay, well. Turns out, even in the future, people don't know how to be halfway decent in emails.
Well, to be fair, the man began the email with "Yo, man."
Well, it's true. This is way too much to read. Okay, so maybe... Was that access code all I needed? No, they're suggesting I need to get on this computer still. Why do I need to do that? I thought we were here for the body. It's been a while, and I don't remember what our mission is. There we go. So that's the neural hub from the body. This is for the mom mission.
The mom?
The mom was suggesting that some of the stuff about the attack on Seraph was being hushed up, and that one of the cops might have stuff. So that's why we're here. Okay, so that's why we need this computer. So technically I don't have to do this. I would just... I don't know. I want to
This
do
is
it.
Penn's office?
Yeah, apparently. Credit chip. Oh! Well, I'm just stealing from a cop.
Well,
He's a crooked cop. I don't want to be doing that because I don't want to draw attention to myself. Okay, so... I don't think his password's in here. I don't think he's one of those guys. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna pilfer. Oh, crap. I don't need your gun, dude. Can I put that back? I don't think I can. Okay, well, now I'm stealing from police officers.
well, to me, getting resource is a little different than like stealing personal. It's not like he picked up like his favorite pen.
Well, but I did just steal his cash. Okay, so that pocket secretary didn't actually help me at all. Unless there's more that I missed. I don't think... Normally it kind of highlights stuff you need. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's in here. He's not one of those people who keeps his password on a sticky note by his desk, even though he should be. That's for the laser system, which I also can't hack. So anyways, this was a bad place to start, and I think I commented on that the last time we ended here. I said this was going to be hard to get back into when we're in the middle of a thing.
First rule is of really tight security protocol. Always put your password on a sticky note right on your computer.
Well,
just in case.
I've heard the reason that it's technically a defensible position because if you really want a proper... Oh, okay. That's interesting.
What are you
If you want a proper,
I
like...
was being facetious, and now you're going a weird direction.
Because if you want a proper password that, like, isn't going to be just something people can hack or whatever, it's going to have to be some bizarre
And then you put it on your computer.
Yeah, because people aren't going to, on average, the people who are going to steal your passwords are going to be actual, like, hackers who aren't going to be in your office. So,
maybe so, but you're making it real easy for opportunists.
Well, for opportunists, I suppose, but I mean, who you're more worried about? The people who are more likely to steal it, or the people who just might if the opportunity presents itself?
I would say the latter.
No.
Because you're literally presenting them the opportunity and then saying, don't steal from me.
But if you're having... The point is, if it's a computer in your presumably locked office, you might have reason to be like, chances are people aren't going to get that. Anyway, I'm not saying either one of them is sensible.
Well,
I'm just saying he should have been...
You could put a key right outside your office underneath the mat.
No,
and you'd
because
be okay too.
No, that's not even the same logic.
Fine.
Because digital passwords, the greatest threat to digital security, are digital hackers, not burglars breaking into your house. Everything's a security rating of 2, whereas a key is by nature an analog thing. Ooh boy. Okay, well, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this because I'm not exactly feel like it's
this is a
common sense that there would be...
We've established this already, but
someone else
it's the BioShock creators, right? Or are they related to?
I don't think so.
Developers?
I don't believe so at all. I mean, I don't
I
know
thought that we determined that at one point.
It's not from what I gather. It's Square Enix, who are famous for other reasons. So he's also got lasers in his vents, because apparently he knows I'm supposed to get somewhere, and I don't have the ability to hack that too. The
security cameras were a bit akin to the...
Well, but that's hardly... You can't...
I suppose that's a bit of a trope, but still.
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do this, because I don't think...
You have motherly ties.
I have no motherly ties. I'm a cyborg. I came out of a mechanical shaft. I dropped out of an air vent.
Bad images.
So the only chance that we have of hacking that computer is if one of these other guys has his password somewhere, like. But the problem is,
you gotta go back to...
I got 2 guys
There's
here.
There's only meaning a motherboard.
What?
Oh dear.
Okay, so these guys are being total dopes.
Some sort of cybernetic womb you've
cybernetic womb. That's a horrifying. That's, I think, a very Geiger-esque image that I don't want to think of. Authorized personnel only in here, hence why the camera isn't trained on it permanently, like you might suspect it would be. I'm assuming that's not an actual person present. Okay, it's not. Well, there's another vent. Alright. Where is that sound coming from? Because I'd like it not to be. Security rating of 3. What's with all of y'all and your incredibly non-hackable computers? You'd think this was some kind of...
sticky notes here, so
you'd think this was some kind of law enforcement agency or something.
Why is everybody reading the same...
Well, there's only one magazine in this world.
Exotic magazine.
Is that where the... I can't turn that off, so I'm not going to be able to. So, weapons. As much as I'm tempted, I'm going to have to say no to that. I'm not here to rob cops. I'm just here to examine dead corpses without permission. It's dark in these vents. Don't they know this is a video game? Wait. You mean to tell me that this dude has a laser-activated security system in his vents, but didn't consider the fact that the dude 3 offices over didn't have laser-activated vents? And if his office could be broken into, so could the other guys. So those lasers are just an expensive waste of resources. I'm going up to the 2nd floor. I don't want this.
We're gonna stay here until I get some answers, kid. We're talking about some serious fucking crimes.
Oh.
What are you talking about? My brother's missing and you want to charge him?
Very classic.
Okay.
When was the last time you saw Roger?
The good cop, bad cop routine.
Is this relevant? You know what? It just occurred to me we're probably going to have to turn the TV down now that there's actual dialogue happening. Where's the remote? Because I'm sure this is causing some serious echo. Where's the remote? Oh, there you go. I don't think I actually need any of this. You're going to have to go lower than that. This thing's sensitive. I don't think there's anything I can do in this circumstance. I mean, I'm sure this is probably some fluff that would be useful, but I don't think the interrogation room would have the codes I'm looking for. Anyways, I'm gonna.
To heck with that kid.
Well, we have no clue the context. I'm not gonna go insert myself, acting like I'm a vigilante. I just stepped into this, and this seems sketch. That's a great way to cause problems for yourself. I'm sure that if the door is open when they look... See, like, why on earth, if you have a highly restricted area and a camera right next to it, you'd think just put the camera focused on it. Because, like, the only reason anyone would be in that corner is if they were trying to break in there. So why does the camera need to pan if it could just be stationary?
Presumably because if someone were lurking, they would want to know.
Yes. They would want to be able to get in, perhaps. So these two security guards are really terrible because they're not patrolling or doing anything. The last real hope is with me getting in there. I mean, this is a side quest we're doing. I could always come back once I have better stuff, because I'm not actually sure that I'm going to find the code anywhere sensible. So it's like I could either, take these two cops out, knock them out, and hope that someone's got something, but I'm not sure it's going to be worth the risk. So technically, all I really needed from here was the code to the morgue.
Which you already have.
Yeah, so that's why, I could just move on. Now, is there anything... Okay, so it was just this guy. Then why are there so many X's on my map? Where's the map? There's this one, and there's two down here. What's this related to? Go to the police station lobby.
Some motherly ties. And
oh, okay, so that's just telling me to go out, because that is the other quest. But why would I need to be in the lobby for? Do I need to talk to that one guy? I thought I talked to that guy. Maybe I talk to him again once I have the information from that thing? I don't know. So this is the lobby then, if it's telling me this is the lobby. So this is where... So it means the morgue is through here. Probably in the basement. Yeah, morgue. Which means I have to come down this staircase or take...
Why does...
I'm assuming that's an
Why
elevator.
is it that that's just an accepted truth? Is it just like they're in the basement because
well, I imagine
they're closer to just being buried?
Well, it's probably got something to do with chemicals and fumes or something. I don't know.
Well, but why wouldn't you... Well, I suppose that's true.
Like,
I was going to say you could put it on the top floor, but then I realized if the building were
yeah, no, because that means you'd have to carry them up to the top floor. I mean, I imagine that's probably like they have a... Like the ambulance probably pulls up to a bay right outside so that the corpses aren't just being paraded around.
And there's a slide that they just shove them down.
They shoot directly onto the table. Yeah, your regular morgue... What are they called? Morticians. No, they're not...
Yeah.
Coroner. Examines the dead body. A mortician prepares the body for a burial. The coroners are routinely told to just ignore the head contusions about... They're gonna slam into the table when they come down the chute. So just don't put that on a report.
It appears this guy... Well, you can know when the trauma happened, though, because you can know
but
when
not
it happened
precisely.
You for sure can know that it happened post-mortem.
No, not always, because you can only tell...
the blood stops coagulating. It wouldn't pool to the infected area.
That would depend on how much post-mortem. If it was like a fresh body, if they just brought it in, it would probably still have some functions. So I see two staircases and an elevator. Elevator seems like the easy way.
It's two lefts and a right, huh? Thanks for the directions, okay?
Okay, so that staircase could lead me all the way... No, it wouldn't lead me all the way down.
That quote
That's probably
wasted
a vent.
on you.
Well, did you expect... Well, yeah. You gotta know beforehand what quotes you're gonna have to explain. And then prepare an explanation when it's appropriate. I'm assuming this is a vent and not... Because there's no other... Like, there's no stairs or an elevator, so I'm guessing that's a vent. Probably from this room,
If it's
even.
a dumbwaiter.
Well, I think there would also be an indicator for that. So I could probably either get down there from here. This seems like the easiest way to get into the morgue unnoticed, because I imagine there's going to be some security by the door. So I can either take this staircase, which is... Oh no, that staircase doesn't come from here. Never mind, that's not a route. I can't take that route. There's a vent, though, that leads somewhere. So my routes are either staircase that I know is being patrolled, or elevator that is probably equally patrolled. My guess is the vent...
Elevator would probably be safer, because once you're in the elevator, there's probably nobody in there.
Yeah, but there's probably people at the bottom of the elevator. I imagine that's the way most people come, so there's probably a guard standing right outside the elevator. I'm going to shoot for this vent, and I'm going to assume... Just based geographically.
Just come on down 47 style and...
No, see, that's precisely what I'm not trying to do. I'm going to assume that the entrance to that vent is probably in one of these rooms or somewhere on this side of the building.
Nobody can notice if there's no one to
Yeah,
notice.
but I'm not Russian, so that kind of stealth doesn't apply.
Wow, you dogging the Spetsnaz?
No, I'm dogging the internet meme that we've already quoted about Russian stealth. So I need to somehow... I swear he was looking right at me.
Well, he's got bad knees. He doesn't want to get up. So,
Wait, hang on.
it's not worth it.
Hang on. Oh, this isn't a room.
What do you mean?
Oh, wait, no, it's down. Okay, down one level of the flight of stairs. I thought that room was up on this floor. Okay, well, now that the context is adequately established. Ooh, you should stay looking at whatever's over there. Oh, crap. Am I beefy enough to move these? I am.
You rolled right out in front
I
of
was
him.
not trying to roll. Okay, I'm gonna. I didn't want to roll. I thought I was gonna creep around to the other side of the pillar. You're gonna have to move that because it's gonna pose a problem.
Dear.
Well, that didn't go quite as I had hoped. Yeah. Well, anyways,
He's not as hidden as you would have hoped.
Well, the problem is now that you're playing, you're not going to be able to, because I was going to punt to your thoughts.
No.
So now you're...
Give me a second. Give us a moment.
All right, fine. I'll set up my punt to your thoughts. Well, because the reason I think it's funny is that I was editing again today, and the previous episode, well, there's been a funny consistency in the way this has happened. Not that is somewhat accurate to the way it's been consistent in real life. Where 2 episodes ago, I was like, hey, I just started watching Arcane. I'm kind of curious. And then the last episode, I was like, hey, I finished Arcane, and I babbled about it for an hour and a half, actually. And then, now this episode, I convinced you to watch Arcane, and now you're going to babble about it.
For an hour.
For an hour and a half, or something like that.
Well, yeah.
So that's true to life in that that's also what's happened. Nothing else has happened in my life since 3 weeks ago, apparently.
Do I have to start over? Like, am I going to have to take the gun and all that?
Well, you don't have to take the gun. I mean, you could if you so chose.
So I'm saying...
You've been given a second chance to be moral, and you just wasted it.
Well, I'm not going to take his money. I'm just taking his gun.
Because that's...
Not even
for all you know, if it's
not even taking his copy of Personnel.
Is that actually the name of it? Or
yeah.
were you just... Oh, I thought maybe that was a Real World magazine you were trying to reference.
No. Although...
For all you know, that was his, like, non-issued sidearm. That could have been, like, a family piece. He could have... Like, why is it in his desk and not on him? That probably was not standard issue.
Making me feel bad. That's
well, I tried to get you to think.
This woman's been following me around.
She's
Why
been
is she on the
photographed.
gun?
That's why. It's because everyone wants... Now we've established the secret. We live in some future society where, like, facial... Okay, guards. You didn't even squat. What you just... They're over there. I'm honestly surprised they didn't look at you and be like, oh, Jim, I didn't know you were... Hey, you're not Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim.
Are those your sidearms?
I see. Every single time I pick this back up, I have to.
Yeah, this is a. Ooh. See, you don't want to be doing that when you're not trying to do that. So hold is to crouch, or not to crouch, but like to sneak around the side of a box. Pressing it once.
Okay.
You don't need. You don't
just.
Remember, there's patrolling guards at the bottom of the staircase. I was making a point. I was setting up my punt, and it was something about.
It's
basically
very punty.
So that guy does in fact move. I thought he was going to stay there. I thought he was stationary, but
He's
he
not
isn't.
a blob. Is there
blob.
anybody over?
Yeah, there's guys over there too. So this may not be. So
I was
that
saying,
room.
thinking that
Whoa!
area.
Okay, they're moving. Someone's moving. You're hostile. Someone saw you. See, you just went to crawl into the corner. You cannot see me. I cannot see you.
We
I
are
am
hidden.
Okay, now I can punt. So basically, the episodes reflect real life, and that I haven't stopped talking about Arcane for 3 weeks.
And in fact, it's gotten worse.
And the answer is sadder. So basically, I don't know. You just go off. Basically, well, we had a conversation when you first had finished it, and I felt like I probably I stepped on your thoughts because I basically inserted my own. We
first talked about it. I don't remember talking about it.
The other,
all.
like yesterday or whatever the day when you were like, it was after you had finished it where you were like, I have some thoughts after having let it ruminate, because it is a ruminating show. I didn't have my thoughts fully set up until a few days after I finished it.
I think the reality of my commentary is probably going to come off very. What is it? What's the word for it? It could come off like I'm trying to just echo the same thing, and
as who? As me?
As you. And the reality is, it's not that as much as it is this. It's very true that this show is not one that guard doesn't give a crap about your plans.
Does he come up?
He's gonna come all the way up that
so he's going to the window,
to the wall.
He does go back to the wall. It looks like.
Did you stumble over that intentionally?
No, I was playing it straight. I'm the straight man here.
Okay.
I need to go over there, bro.
So anyway, I think the issue is this show is not. Surprisingly, my mind is typically made up with shows
the inner machinations of my mind are
within the first couple episodes. And the same thing with books. I would say,
he's crafty. He's crafty. Whoo! He just about made me cack my pants. Okay, so clearly it's somebody over there who sees me. Oh, it's the guys in the security room. Yeah, shoot your friends.
He totally pulled a gun on him too. He was like, "It's you."
See, here's the thing. Do I just reload? Because this is unsalvageable at this point. Now there's a shootout in the police station. I'm gonna reload. That feels cheap, but I also...
So
it's a little bit like the Hitman thing where it's like you can only plan so many plan Bs until you're like, all right, there's no salvaging this.
Padre. It's the same scene over. So, I would say I do the same thing with books. Within the first 2 or 3 chapters, if I have not made up my mind about something, I just go, okay. Well,
yeah, but see, I would wager that's just a sign of bad media. The fact that a story, we're so accustomed to knowing what we're going to think of a thing so early, because I think it just goes to show that so many things, not just, again, books and whatever, isn't just shows. They're so rote at this point, and that we're used to being like, I know the tropes it's going to follow, and now, even after only I've seen these few episodes, there's no dynamic. We don't expect it to change.
So, when I got to the last episode, I'm not going to give it away.
Oh, I think we should. Because every time we've discussed a thing, we hem-haw because we can't say anything. And it hamstrings. I've had to edit several videos where I'm like, this is just excruciating. Because we say nothing. Because we can't.
Well...
we did that in the Batman video. Literally, it's an hour of us talking around the point.
We'll unpack it in just a second.
No,
but what I'm
here's
saying
the thing. If you don't
before I actually jump into the ending episode, maybe
fine.
I'll say that.
We'll hold off as long as we can, and then the floodgates will spoil away.
I sat on it because initially I didn't like the ending. I was like...
okay. I'm curious because I didn't either, but was it a genuine, I think this is a bad ending, or emotionally, I don't like it? Because I reacted negatively in a way that the show knew. Because of the framework that I had and the people that I most sympathized with.
It didn't feel good. It was the only way to resolve it, but it was very much like, okay.
So I felt very much the same. Now, I'm about to put myself in the same position. Because he comes on this side of the pillar.
Maybe he's looking for you to be in a different position.
I I feel like a cheater. I guess.
Padre. I'm just going to say that every time.
I've got to try to think a little more downstream because I don't want to just reset every time something goes wrong. So I have to have some kind of plan B. The problem is, if someone gets alarmed...
Keep your finger on the chess piece.
If someone is alarmed, they'll search for you and then eventually give up. Whereas if they're hostile, like, I don't think that ever goes away. I don't think me hiding for any length of time makes the police be like, oh yeah, that guy who was in here in the unauthorized area, he's probably left by now. I haven't seen him in 20 minutes. Like, so that's where
That's the same guy.
So the only real approach I can imagine is just only, like, it has to be alarmed only and it can never get to hostile. This is... I forgot how much of the game...
Is what
we made
about?
Well, no, we made the decision
early on.
This does seem
very Hitman-y.
Well, a little bit. But we made the decision early on that we were going to be like, oh, you know, we'll use the full force weapons because the, you know, it felt cheap to pull the... I don't know. I was against the whole non-aggressive, non-violent approach in the first mission because that's like, okay, we're literally dealing with armed terrorists.
Well, yes.
So it kind of makes sense to be like, no, if I'm going in here, I want my backup. Whereas now I forgot that other
Counterpoint.
You're a terrorist. Other missions in the game like this, like if I had a stun gun, I wouldn't feel nearly as bad about popping a guy because I'm like, okay, he'll wake up in an hour. Like I'd shoot him right now, shoot him in the leg, and he'd pass out. Although I suppose that is part of the problem with the stun guns, is that it's like a dart that takes a couple seconds, and they usually make a commotion in that amount of time. So what I'll wait for him to do is I'm going to wait for him to go...
bullets? Just shoot him enough that they're like, leave me alone!
Well, that would still create a ruckus.
So, it was definitely the latter. It was that I went, no, it doesn't feel...
It doesn't feel good.
It doesn't.
And of course,
it doesn't feel good.
And that's part of it. Yeah, there is no ending that
So I had to sit on it, and uncharacteristically had to sit on it, because typically I'll come away from it, and if there's an unresolved, or not even unresolved, if there is a uncomfortability with the ending like that, I'll just say, I don't like this show. Honestly, typically that's my response.
Well, but I would
this time,
but again, no,
I couldn't do that.
No,
I don't want you to qualify it, because here's the thing.
Well, I feel like it needs qualifying because you're not.
Here's my
That's a bit
point.
poncy to say if I don't like it. That's why I asked the question. Is it because it's unreconciled and I think that's like it was poorly written, the ending?
No, see, that's what I'm saying. Here's the difference.
You're just like, if it doesn't end making me feel good, I don't like it? Because that suggests you're critical.
Typically,
barometer's
I'm critical
off.
enough. No, see, here's the issue. Most shows are that cut and dry that if I don't like the ending, I'll just go, you know what? The characters weren't that worthwhile to me to really matter anyway because the ending sucked, so it's done. Whereas this one...
I can't help but feel like that suggests a slight skewing of...
No, because
there's one thing to say, I think it was poor. I think it ended poorly.
Story, well, okay, maybe that's a better way of saying it.
Whereas, like, I just didn't like the ending. Because, for example, would you have said... I mean, this is a poor example, but it is the one that comes to mind a lot for reasons we'll get into. I don't think Infinity War ended poorly. But you're obviously not supposed to like it. Now that's the reason it's not a great example is because it's a 1-2. Like Infinity War isn't the end. Those two movies were meant to go together, so that's incomplete otherwise. But my point is,
well, but see, here's the thing. It's that I didn't hate the ending. What I'm saying is, typically
why?
When
because
I get
you realize that it was well written, right?
Correct.
So you didn't think it was well written at first, because I knew immediately that I was like, I respect this, but I don't like it personally.
Okay, let me frame it by saying this.
So this guy never goes back to that corner. I thought he would.
When an ending, when something ends that abruptly, typically it's because of poor writing.
I didn't feel like it was abrupt.
No, it was, but I'll get into that in just a second. It was not something that typically when you get to that moment, it's like, okay, that's almost cliffhangery just simply for the sake of saying we want to do a second season.
No, because even if there was no second season, the arc is finished.
You defending it. I'm not talking about Arcane. I'm saying
what are you talking
typical
about?
response of that.
Well,
kind
I'm
of
telling you why
sequence
your
is
reaction
that.
is wrong.
I didn't react that way to Arcane, so you need to shut up.
Well, then why are you picking it up, you level?
I'm saying the difference
Hopefully
was
no one sees me do this.
I wanted to write
No one saw
it
me do
off in the same manner, but I couldn't.
Okay, well there you go.
That's the unique thing, is that
he's joined with the floor now. Is this a safe place to
he's
dump a
one with
body?
the floor and the floor's with him.
This seems like a safe place to store a body. It'll just look... I'm not going to rob him. It'll look like he just fell down the stairs. That's what I'll do. This ought to be an option in the Hitman games. So, like, when you take a guy out, you instead of having to find, like, a place to stuff him, just make it
make sense.
Make it look like... You know, I'll just spill some ketchup and be like, yeah, oh, he tripped. I'll take one of his shoes off or something. Dude, he forgot to tie his shoes.
Just untie it. Don't even take it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Just...
Okay, so the guys in that window
I
are the
wanted
ones who
to
will
write
see
it off
me.
in the same manner. That's what I'm saying. Typically, it's because of bad writing. And so
Sure.
I went, oh, it ended horribly. This is really weird. And then I went, well, how else could they have done it? And so it's very much like, I want to hate it, but I can't because there's such calculation to how they develop everything that the more I've sat on it, and this is where I say the whole ruminating concept is a very... Did he get a... Was it just alarmed or was it...
Well, no, it was hostile. It was alarmed for... I thought I got back in cover soon enough, but apparently I didn't.
But it... Once I sat on it, because sitting on it for like a day...
Because you have to. It took me about a day.
Honestly, if you're planning on watching the show and you haven't yet, just be prepared that you will not be able to make your decision up either during the show or at the end of the show. To me, I argue that you have to sit on it in order to really develop your thoughts. You have to sit on it for a couple days.
For a full, like, I grasp it, yes. But I was more...
Firmly grasp it.
I was more... I had already made more of my mind up before you did. So the ending, as much as I didn't love it,
well, but can I pose a question?
See, okay.
Were you doing...
I swear he's looking
Were
at
you
me when he
doing
does
random
that.
YouTube...
No, not while I was watching it.
In
No.
conjunction with that?
No, I stared clear of anything once I got into it. I was like... Because the problem with things on the internet is you have, like, a couple months after a thing gets acclaim to watch it before people start to be like, yeah, spoilers. No one cares about spoilers anymore because everyone assumes everyone's seen it after a couple months.
Almost like what we're doing.
Well, yeah, it's been at this point. I think the finale was in like early December or something. So it's been like it's been almost a year or half. So almost half a year. So again, we're doing the exact same thing, and that's why I knew that we're on the cusp of people going to be talking about it. So I need to avoid like the plague until I actually finish it.
Okay. That being said, when I allowed it to sit, I made snap judgments on characters that I think...
I did too. Well...
I made snap judgments on characters that I think I was expecting typecast in that ended up not being able to fit into the same mold.
Again, I think because we're so used to just drivel being published.
But I think that's true of also, again, the show. I tried to do the same thing with the show. Well, the show ended really weird, so I don't know if I like it. But then I had to sit on it because it really didn't end weird. It just was hard.
Yeah. Well, and that's, again,
To
I
swallow.
came to the realization that I'm like, okay, we're going to, again, hold off on the spoilers yet. But I basically came to the position that I'm like, okay, which character do I resonate most with?
See, that's not... Are you...
I didn't think about it exactly like this. It wasn't exactly a conscious thought. It was one of those sort of, you know it before you mentally can verbalize it. Where I was like,
But why is
think
that
about
significant to you for liking
Well,
the show?
no, I already knew I liked it by this point. I was just going, why is it that this feels sucky? And that's because I'm going, okay, well, whose perspective am I most aligned with? This character makes the most sense to me, and from their perspective, this ending sucks. This is not the happy ending for them.
Right.
So I'm like, naturally, if I resonate with this character, I'm gonna feel the way they feel about the ending because it's not great for them.
Right.
So that's
So
now
here's
here's my
jumping
plan.
into a little bit more.
Here's my
of-
plan, because I need to distract people. So I'm going to huck the vending machine over there in hopes that the guys will come out of that room and investigate, and they'll go down the hall. And they're not moving.
They don't care about a vending machine.
Well, because the problem is if I went down
So,
the hall and
jumping
just started
into
shooting, I
spoilers
wouldn't
then,
have a...
That being said...
Is this the time?
This is the time.
I don't know that we can wait any
This is
longer.
the time. So, jumping into spoilers, because you mentioned what characters you most aligned with, you were surprised by this. I actually found the most resonance with the
I don't think I'm going to be surprised. You explained it to me.
No,
unless
but
this is
I'm
different.
It's
Victor?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that. It just wasn't... Victor's a very common favorite character for a lot of people, so I wasn't surprised. It just...
Really?
Yeah, he's very high on the list.
So...
And I don't... It's not like I don't get it. I perfectly get it. I like him a lot as a character, but he's just not the one that I'm like...
So,
I love Victor.
Because of the fact that I
that
resonated with Victor,
okay.
You actually made the comment because it was humorous. You found various parts emotional that they were emotional, but they weren't like nearly as
No one
gripping.
cared about the vending machine being hucked across the room. No one even went to look at it.
Well, people are probably like, yeah, that stupid vending machine robbed my dollar. He serves it right. Let me come over there and kick it a couple times too.
So I have to create a distraction away from that room because I'm willing to bet, given how many people are in there, that's definitely got to be where the vent is that I'm looking for. So I have to somehow get them away. But the problem is, the only way I know how to make a distraction is to just like open fire in a random place. And that doesn't work because I have to get over there. If I'm down this hallway, they'll just corner me. Can't break into any of these offices either.
So...
Well, hang on. There's usually a vent in the bathroom.
Not that you were surprised, but when the situation happened with Sky, I was like, whoa, okay.
Because funnily enough, this is a show... Okay, good. I can use this, but I need to know where this goes. Oh, please tell me this is perfect. Oh, it's not at all perfect. It's very not perfect. Okay, but it's... The only vent I can find is in the bathroom. That means I can go here, I can open fire, get them to come down this hallway. I have to sneak through here, and the problem is this is a room full of people. So if I have to come out this door into the room full of people. Now, I'm not confident that this is going to work, but I don't have any other options. So, sorry, continue.
So, the parts that you found emotional, like super emotional...
Well, yes, as I said, this is a show that will make you cry, and there was a...
So go ahead and like...
Well, do you want me to go first?
Well, I'm just saying a couple of your... Because here's the thing. We didn't find the same parts as emotional.
Well,
like,
yes. The scenes
I actually got like quite emotional at the Sky death. I was like, okay, they just up and killed her like nothing. And it was shocking in that...
Oh, come on.
I think the thing that is interesting about Victor is that he's a periphery character, and yet he doesn't feel like it.
Not really. Sky is a periphery. He's part of the main.
But I'm saying they don't even develop Victor and Sky's relationship really.
Well,
and
no,
yet
but that's
you still feel the loss.
Well, but that's
I
think the point. In fact, I've heard. I'm going to recommend this channel because I'm probably going to reference several things he says. It's really weird. The channel is called Schnee. Literally SHNEE, which so if you're no German, then it's the German word for snow. That's the only way I can help you remember it. But he does a whole bunch of like basically breakdown videos of various elements of it, and one of his was specifically about that because apparently there's a topic I never knew, or not a trope called fridging. This is the term people have come up with it, which is basically when a character is written off.
Without even giving
with no it's like their whole point in the show was simply to be someone else's emotional moment, and that was it. And it's generally a negative thing, like it's thrown around as like poor writing.
Interesting.
And so he was arguing.
I didn't feel like
and he was arguing. Well, no, he makes the argument going, people say this is, and in a way it is, but. The reason it's not poor writing in this instance is because... Okay! No. Okay.
Even that small amount of scene that you get in...
Well, my point is... Hang on, I was panicking because I need to close the vent! Okay, this might be in my favor because now I...
He's just got his gun drawn.
I was afraid of this because I knew this room being full of people meant...
Oh. They're leaving.
No, that just means
they are.
Well, no, they're... What? Well, they're stupid. Okay, no, they've got... I don't think this strategy... What?
He's just going to come right over to the... Oh my gosh!
Well, this strategy clearly isn't going to work. I thought, because I knew that room was going to be too populated for me to sneak through. Darn it. But he makes the defense of saying the reason it's generally bad writing is because it throws away what is ultimately, if you take the story seriously, this is a person with a life, and like so just throwing it away for the sake of another character's arc is
lazy.
Yeah, lazy, and it's questionable, and it's like, is that it? Essentially, if you're asking us to take this seriously, you've just killed someone, and if all you're doing it for is for someone else to feel bad, that's pretty sociopathic. And the point they make in the show is the reason this isn't that is because
it was accidental.
Like, no, it's literally because that is. Well, I'm about to explain it in a way that sounds like I'm just going to say exactly what it is, and it's the opposite. It's the whole point is Victor is as much haunted by the injustice as
of who
of what happens of Sky's death, because that's generally it's often the fact that usually it's done with, it's obviously always a sort of injustice type thing, in that you've just thrown away this character for, well, close those. That's the solution, or get the pillows off. The injustice of it is what bothers people because it's rarely given that weight, and that's I think the more the crux of it. It's not just obviously there are going to be foil type characters where their only purpose in the plot is as a opposite to someone else.
But see,
the fact that it's so cavalier in a lot of times, and the point of this is that it's not. It's like he's equally as horrified by the injustice as the audience. So I
think that, and I think again, even that small little tidbit of his backstory and her being,
I think even the better part of it, what saves it, is that it's not just that scene. It's basically the rest of his scenes. Right. The rest of his actions are determined by that, and even I think the most significant one is just even the
leading up to it.
No, it's the moment afterwards where he goes to his like special little spot that he goes with the can of ashes, and he's like, this is the best I can do because I have no clue even what else
to do with. Yeah.
And it's like he has the appropriate reaction to make it.
And there's follow-up.
Have weight.
It did not just move forward. It wasn't used as a device to change Victor's situation. It actually caused Victor responded to
and he responded problem in the appropriate way,
right?
Because I think what the trope, as far as I understand it, is that it's often done with little gravity, where it's like, yeah, this person's gone, and it had to happen, so this person would feel this.
Almost like what you're doing with this dead body.
Well, he's not dead. I choked him. He's not dead. He'll regain consciousness in a couple of minutes, or something. I don't know. So the gunfire solution didn't work. What will work is the question. I have to get in here.
Walking in.
Well, no, because that's. Just hang on. Let me have a. Okay, so there's 3 riot-looking cops. I'm certain there's a vent in this room. Because there's
What if you get in there and there's nothing?
Well, because there can't be. I can't imagine. This game is well enough designed that they make the various routes still challenging. There's no like, oh yeah, I found the one route that makes it easy. It's like, yes, I could hack it, but because I can't, I have to find a vent. But of course, it's not going to be an easy vent to find. 3 freaking cops. Well, so
they
anyway, didn't come to my shootout.
I thought that was a fantastic, not only a fantastic scene, but I think it was the most.
Well, you certainly reacted to it more than I did.
I was surprised.
I reacted in the sort of like, holy crap, I can't believe they did that kind of way.
See, for me, it was the moment I all of a sudden understood Victor's the character I connected with.
Well, and I'm curious as to why.
All of a sudden.
Have you ever accidentally killed someone?
But I think that...
You do have to answer that question.
Okay, no, obviously.
Well, because your reaction was like, okay. You do have to say no.
I'm just saying.
You can't just laugh.
Not just like to have, but it happened in the span of that moment. Like for me, where I always obviously thought that Victor was a great character, but I wasn't ever like, oh, me and Victor, we're really until all of a sudden that happened. I was like,
But, well, here's the reason
and I don't know
asked.
why.
Well, this is genuinely the thing that makes me curious, is because on the surface,
I suppose
I asked you
would
this
say
question
it this
because
way.
I got you
On a psychology level, I would say
Well, that's
there
where we're
has
going.
been things I have done that have certainly affected people negatively. Now, it may not obviously have caused
certainly
death.
hope it's not murder.
But
okay, well, I could go down the stairs.
I'm
I guess
sure
this
that
could
my
be
own
the better
ambitions and or I don't know, hubris has gotten me into trouble in the past.
Okay, well, because the reason I ask is I had to go through a very similar bit of self-reflection where I'm like, why on earth, when I don't share really any surface level similarities in like life and backstory and all that, I knew this would be the most heavily guarded route. Got a laser door and a camera and a cop with who knows what. So, like, I had to kind of analyze and go, why on earth am I resonating so much with people who really aren't that much like me? Because clearly some part of them is like me enough to make me feel strongly. So that's so have you come to that conclusion yet? Or is it other than what you just said in a sort of vague, like...
No, I think the other thing is that he is a...
Is he going to turn around?
How do I say this well? He's a in multiple contexts, he's a person that doesn't he has his own ambitions and dreams and thoughts, but he also sees potential in other people's vision and helps them actualize it.
Well, yeah, that's part of his
like that
relationship
happens
with
in multiple.
Jace,
well,
yeah.
not just Jace, but with the doctor,
Singed, I believe is his name. He doesn't though.
He helps him. I mean,
well, a little bit as a kid. He doesn't actually like.
I'm just saying it's clear of his character that that's what he does, and
Dang it.
I think that's certainly true of me.
Well, he's I can grab. You don't want to do this, buddy. Ah! The camera didn't see any of that. Camera didn't see that. No, just hang on. Nope, camera. Ah!
Shit, what happened?
He tripped on this crate.
Wake up!
Oh crap!
Your arm's broken.
Oh crap! I think he's actually gonna wake up.
And you're just gonna have to beat him
No,
again.
he's just gonna turn
Beat
around.
him
Turn him around.
again.
No! Turn around. Darn it.
That would be hilarious. If
So
you just
as
beat
I
him
was
again.
correct to assume that this way through is going to be the most heavily security laden. But then again, I swear the vent's got to be in that other room because there's no that. Why else is there 3 guys?
Well,
in it?
is that the solution? You just have to go in that particular room only and
But I can't
peel some caps and
I'm
split
not
some
gonna.
wigs
But
up
I'm
in
not
that
gonna
John.
kill SWAT officers just for convenience.
Well, I may.
And I can't knock them out 3 at a time. That's not gonna work. I don't know.
If you carry a big stick.
I can understand that aspect because he is probably one of the more
Altruistic.
no, because I think Jace is the more altruistic character, and
Yeah,
that's part of his
see,
downfall is that
here's
he's
the thing about Jace.
he's the two
He
alpha.
couldn't have
He's the-
arrived there by himself.
No, he was always a bit altruistic. The problem is he's too altruistic.
No,
he's
I'm not
altruistic
saying he wouldn't
blindly.
have arrived at I wasn't saying he wouldn't have arrived at the altruism. What I'm saying is he wouldn't have arrived at success.
No, Victor is in essence his impulse control in a way.
Right. But see, maybe that's what I don't know.
Maybe that's what I am. I'm other people's impulse control.
That sounds very, I don't know. It sounds awfully
Unhealthy, at the very least.
aggrandizing of
Well,
myself,
that's a little bit true too.
But
Yeah, I can get that. Well, and what's interesting is as I was
you
thinking
can
about
get that
it,
I'm aggrandizing
no,
myself.
I can get why that's Victor is
Don't
sort of that
mind
character.
me, I'm just...
But it actually surprised me because once it was clear because I started you watching the first couple episodes because I forced you to while I was present, and then he comes back. You have to back away. He's about to move, and then I deliberately wanted you to watch the rest of them without me so that you could form your own opinions, and so. Once it became clear that like you are more strongly associating with Victor than I did, I was sort of curious because as I thought about it, I'm like, mentally, if you asked me which character before I had seen it, it's like, oh, based on like the arc and like the narrative, who would you most sympathize with? I probably would have, in my sort of in a sense of self kind of way, because I do understand the whole, desire to make an impact and to have you pick. What are you doing? You're holding it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be suspicious when the vending machine levitates.
I didn't realize I was picking it up.
I don't know how you're gonna solve this.
They're
gonna
hostile,
keep coming.
but are they gonna continue coming, or are they just like, it was a hostile vending machine? Okay.
Well, I think once they open fire, they're not gonna stop.
I'm gonna just play this. Okay.
I suppose you could do it. I told you this is not a game. This is not a game where guns blazing ever really works. So I could. That's what's interesting is that I thought like I would have normally resonated with this character on a mental level, where I thought I would have seen myself as like, oh yeah, that desire to be significant and to make an impact and to sort of make a name for yourself and all that, which is sort of his arc.
Who?
Victor. That's like I think this the post Sky's death scene when he's actually no, I'm wrong. The scene he has with Heimerdinger is different than that. It's before Sky's death. When he's already learned that he's dying,
right?
And he essentially has the conversation with Heimerdinger about like, you ever contemplate death? And he's, my accomplishments will be hardly remembered even by you, which is admittedly that was the closest I ever got to a sort of. Funnily enough, I never cried the first time through the show, so that was the closest I got to a tear-jerking moment from Victor's, because I was going. He's basically telling his mentor and friend, even you're going to forget me. And I'm like, oh, that's tragic. So that was the closest. Again, it wasn't. I cry rarely at visual media.
Well, and there's a part of that I definitely resonated with. I think the other part of it is he's so compelled by. He's not compelled by the pride of success, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say Victor is compelled.
No, I don't think so.
As much as he is the actual fruit of progress.
Yeah.
And so that to me, I'm like, that I very much resonate with, but at the expense sometimes of caution.
Life and legacy, as Singe says.
And it's and so when that happened with Sky, I was going, he's gone too far, and now he can't undo that. I mean, there's no, you're sitting there in the wreckage going,
Well, and I think it's now. Here's the problem: is I remember everything so vividly except the chronology of it. The scene in which, is it after Sky dies that he goes back to Singed and says, I understand?
Yes.
I see. I thought it was... I thought maybe it was before. Because essentially... No, I get it, because it's after that he attempts to destroy the hex core and can't.
Right.
And essentially that's again, part of that arc is where he's going, he now understands what it means to say, I'm willing to do...
To be strong enough.
What is a difficult decision for the sake of this thing I believe to be... meaningful.
True, yeah, exactly.
He can't destroy it, despite the fact that he knows that it's done in the same sense that like the whole scene with the creature.
I would say it's a bit of the protagonist's version of what happens with Thanos when he's like,
why do they get alarmed
this
immediately?
amount of risk.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Thanos, because I catch myself thinking of Infinity War a lot for the same reason that they think I'm okay. No!
Don't let him stop! No! He caught you with a bullet to the hiney.
Well, I'm not dead yet. I'm saving. I think that there's reasonable comparison to be made, but that's when we get into my half. I'm wanting to let you go first.
So sorry,
I talked
let me
over
finish
you the first time.
So sorry, let me finish.
I'm talking over you now.
I
won't talk later. I talk now.
Shifting over to the overarching plot of the show, you had mentioned that you found a.
Well, you're just going to talk about me.
Well, no, this was already something you were kind of mentioning.
That was my failure. We watched the finale together, and I said at the beginning.
No. I'm saying
I don't want to influence your opinion, so you should watch this without me. And then I was like, but I do want to see how you react to the finale. And then I tried. Throughout the last few episodes, I tried to be like, so how do you feel about these characters? I I knew after that day, I was like, I probably said too much.
But again, see, that's why I started this whole conversation by saying it's going to seem like I'm kind of almost giving you fanfare, but the reality is I'm not. I came to the same conclusion whether or not probably I had your opinion. It's just a matter of it took me longer. It is true that it took me longer to get there because you had mentioned you have a bit of sympathy for Silco and his whole situation.
It's not even that. It's honestly, even after I've realized it's Silco and Jinx together. It's both of them more than
See, and I feel that less. But,
well, sure.
But
hence why we're talking about you.
But I think I initially, this is why I say I miscast him, because I initially was like,
everyone
okay,
did. That's the point. Is
yes,
you're supposed
he
to.
obviously had some trauma, but at the same time, that doesn't excuse you from then becoming a killer, essentially.
Well, he does. Okay, there is at least one person he is directly responsible for killing.
And so it's a bit of okay, you've now stepped into realm of villain. And so as I'm watching the show throughout, I think I fell into the trap of again seeking. My brain was seeking the obvious because that's always what we're used to. So I'm going, well, I was looking for things that made him the villain rather than going, well, what's.
Well, that's interesting because, of course, that's, again, natural.
Yes.
But I'm surprised that you weren't swayed earlier because I was doing the same thing, but I was swayed earlier. And I guess maybe that implies that I resonated before I knew it.
And the reality for me is it took retrospect for me going, okay, in some of the final moments, and this is where you just can't get into...
we're in spoiler territory. We already told you a minor character dies.
So within the final moments of his death, by Jinx's hand, you find...
In their last
that
moments.
Well,
people tell you who they
and
are.
that to me that was a shockwave that went backwards through the whole show and changed
if anything,
each identity of each moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because he was sitting there. That's the moment that he needs to say exactly what he thinks, and because it's like he's got nothing to risk at that point.
Well, exactly,
he's dying.
Even if you were up to the last moment thinking he's just lying, even now he is going to betray her still, and he's just telling her
he would have been like.
He would have probably just been like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And he didn't. And the fact that and this was interesting is
not only did he go, it's okay.
It didn't
he
retroactively
actually affirmed her.
Well, yeah, and that's what's interesting is that it didn't retroactively. I went into the final confrontation thinking, I hope they don't screw up what they've done with Silco, because
I don't think they did.
Perhaps I don't think they did either. But I was thinking that, and perhaps I've been jaded by House, where this character who's seemingly a House isn't exactly a villain, but definitely he's not a good character. Person. And I'm going, and then they just totally crapped all over because they gave him, and they did it again. They did it really well at first, where it was very subtle ways of showing he's like this for reasons that you can understand, and he wants to change, but he also doesn't because he's afraid of it. And they laid all of this out, and then as they started to make him change, they eventually just went, scrap this, either because, I don't know if it's because people didn't like it anymore, or they couldn't sustain it, or what.
Stupid psychologists say it makes more sense.
Yeah, I don't get that, but maybe that's why I'm still traumatized, because I went into the final confrontation thinking, again, they're going to make it obvious, they're going to make it, they're going to undo all of what they've done, because I saw it.
In front of the door.
No, I need to get in there. That's the problem. My thought was if I could create a disturbance down this hallway, I could have gone through the vent and gone through that room. But the problem is the disturbance in the hallway, that's what also doesn't make any sense to me. That guy is never looking out that window. Well, okay, my disturbance may... Okay, well, they go into the back. Okay. Well, this might work in that they've all vacated the room. Why on earth is this your solution, pal? I have bionic eyes, and by that I mean I'm blind. Okay, well, I didn't... Okay. I saw a glimpse... He had the perfect shot, bro. I don't know why you didn't take it. Okay, how do they know I'm behind here? Literally, it went from, I saw a dude's elbow to, let's destroy...
Let's destroy that elbow.
Let's destroy this entire precinct.
It looked bionic. Okay.
Okay.
You're standing right next to me. He's acting like he's still behind.
Oh, I thought I was dead already. I totally thought he had already killed me. Well, so I don't think that's the solution's going to work. We're going to have to go the other way and find a way around the security that's in front of the morgue, because I thought this would work better, but I don't see a way in there.